The year, 1964. The place, the Gulf of Tonkin off the coast of Vietnam. What transpired there would become a pivotal moment in American history, shrouded in controversy and forever linked to the term fake news. This wasn't just some fender bender in the South China Sea. This was an alleged attack on US Navy ships, the USS Maddox and the USS Turner Joy, by North Vietnamese torpedo boats. The incident, or rather the incident, lit a fire under America's involvement in Vietnam, with consequences that still echo today. To understand the Gulf of Tonkin, you got to rewind a bit. Picture the Cold War II superpowers, the US and the Soviet Union, locked in a global game of my ideology is better than yours. Vietnam, a country ripped apart by its own communist North and US-backed South, became a pawn in this high-stakes match. The US, terrified of the domino effect of communism spreading through Southeast Asia, was already knee-deep in trying to prop up South Vietnam. By the early 1960s, US involvement in Vietnam was increasing, with military advisors, read guys with guns, being sent over. The situation was a powder keg, and the Gulf of Tonkin incident was the spark. On August 2nd, the USS Maddox, on a surveillance mission in the Gulf, reported being attacked by North Vietnamese torpedo boats. Shots were fired, torpedoes allegedly dodged, and the Maddox, with some help from US aircraft, fought back. The incident, while tense, seemed relatively straightforward. Then came August 4th. In rough seas and under a cloudy sky, the Maddox and the Turner Joy, now joined together, reported another attack. Only this time things were a little fuzzy. The reports were chaotic, with conflicting accounts of enemy boats and torpedo fire. Despite the lack of clarity, one thing was clear: the US government was ready to take action. Section 4, the war machine churns Tonkin resolution and escalation. Within days of the reported attacks, President Lyndon B. Johnson went on television, addressing the nation with a stern look and a furrowed brow. He painted a picture of unprovoked aggression by North Vietnam and requested from Congress the power to respond with all necessary measures. Congress, caught up in the patriotic fervor, and let's face it, a little bit of fear, overwhelmingly passed the Gulf of Tonkin resolution. This resolution, based on what we now know were dubious claims, effectively gave Johnson a blank check to escalate the war in Vietnam. US involvement went from a simmer to a full-blown boil, with troop deployments and bombing campaigns ramping up dramatically. Section 5. The truth emerges, doubts and deception. In the years following the Gulf of Tonkin incident, cracks began to appear in the official narrative. What was once considered a clear-cut case of aggression started to look more like a series of unfortunate misunderstandings and miscommunications. Remember that second attack on August 4th, the one that supposedly justified a massive military response? Well, it turned out that it was probably a big old case of mistaken identity. The so-called attack was likely nothing more than a series of radar and sonar misreads. Bad weather, jumpy nerves, and maybe a few too many cups of Navy coffee likely led to US sailors misinterpreting radar blips and sonar echoes. The chaotic conditions of the sea and the high tension among the crew only added to the confusion. There was no deliberate attack on August 4th, or at the very least, the evidence was incredibly weak. The supposed enemy vessels were likely just phantom blips on a screen, not actual threats. This wasn't just a simple case of oops, our bad. The implications were far-reaching and deeply troubling. The Johnson administration, it seems, knew about the shaky evidence surrounding the August 4th incident, but they chose to present it as a real attack anyway. They needed a solid reason to escalate the conflict in Vietnam. They needed a justification for escalating the war, and by golly, they found it. This decision would lead to years of conflict, countless lives lost, and a nation forever changed. Section 6. Echoes of Tonkin fake news, then and now. The Gulf of Tonkin incident wasn't just a historical blunder, it was a potent example of how misinformation can be weaponized to manipulate public opinion and justify political actions. The incident led to the escalation of the Vietnam War, a conflict that cost countless lives and had far-reaching consequences. This manipulation of facts and events shows how powerful and dangerous fake news can be when used by those in power. Sound familiar? It should. The tactics used back then are eerily similar to what we see today. In our modern age of social media and instant information, or more accurately, misinformation, We're drowning in a sea of fake news, propaganda, and outright lies. The speed at which information spreads today is unprecedented, making it even easier for false narratives to take hold and spread like wildfire. Just like the exaggerated and possibly fabricated accounts of the Tonkin incident, today's fake news spreads like wildfire online, often designed to stoke fear, anger, and division. The algorithms of social media platforms often prioritize sensational content, further amplifying the reach of these false stories. Whether it's made-up stories about election fraud or doctored videos designed to discredit opponents, the goal is the same: to control the narrative and manipulate the truth. The consequences of such actions can be devastating, leading to mistrust, social unrest, and even violence. It's crucial to remain vigilant and critical of the information we consume. Section 7. Broken Trust, Lasting Impact, the Legacy of Tonkin. The Gulf of Tonkin incident left a stain on American history, a moment that would forever alter the nation's trajectory. It stands as a stark reminder of the devastating consequences of misinformation and government deception, showing how easily the truth can be manipulated. This incident eroded public trust in the government, fueled anti-war sentiment across the nation, and cast a long, dark shadow over US foreign policy for decades to come. The incident also highlighted the critical importance of a free and independent press, one that's willing to scrutinize the government's narrative, dig deeper into the facts, and hold those in power accountable for their actions and decisions. In the age of fake news and widespread misinformation, it's more important than ever to be critical consumers of information, to verify sources, to question what we see and hear, and to seek out the truth amidst the noise. We must demand transparency and accountability from our leaders, ensuring they serve the public's best interests. The Gulf of Tonkin might be a historical event, but its lessons are as relevant today as they were back in 1964, reminding us to remain vigilant